Welcome back to the channel. RacerX here, and today I've got a pretty cool comparison video for you guys because many of you have been asking me what is the fastest car that I have ever owned. Is it in fact the Demon 170? Is it your old Hellcat? Is it your Twin Turbo Mustang? Well, today I will actually compare my Twin Turbo Mustang to my Demon 170 and tell you which one is the faster car. Many of you don't realize I actually still have the Twin Turbo Mustang. As you can see, both cars are right here behind me, and today I will tell you which one is faster between the two, and the result may surprise you. If you guys are brand new to the channel, don't forget, hit subscribe. You can find that right over here in the corner, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified when my new content comes out, and off we go.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Check it out, guys. I have a brand new partnership with Dream Giveaway, and I've been paying very close attention to their website, known about these guys for a while. I love the fact that a lot of the money that's generated on their car giveaways actually goes to charity. They have multiple organizations that they work with, and one of their cars, one of their many cars that they have out there right now is a 2018 SRT Demon that is absolutely gorgeous. Black and red color scheme. I love everything about this car. It comes complete with the crate and everything you need to go fast. I would absolutely love this car. Matter of fact, I have already entered to win, and because I partnered with them, now you can actually get double the points if you use my code RacerX, which I will actually put in the description of this video, and I will pin a comment to make it easy for you guys. But yeah, if you go enter right now, you get double the points just by using my code. And I will actually go so far as to say, if one of my subscribers wins this, if I don't win it, I would absolutely love to do a dedicated video on you and your new car. I think this is such a cool giveaway. Like, tickets won't last forever, guys, so make sure you go get your tickets now. Use my link RacerX and go win that Demon. For those of you that don't follow my channel, this is my brand new Demon 170. I took delivery of this about 6 weeks ago, and I waited a really long time to get this car. I am so grateful that I have it in my possession, and I am having a ton of fun with this car, have all sorts of content planned. And of course, I have had my Twin Turbo Mustang now for what, like two and a half years. I had a blue one before this one. And as you look at these two cars, I'm gonna just step back a little bit. You can see how vastly different they are, despite the fact they basically make right at the same amount of power. The Demon 170 advertised as 1,025 horsepower on E85. This car also on E85. Now you can do flex fuel with the Demon. I've got this car here, the Twin Turbo Mustang, tuned for just E85. I've got a big 4 fuel system in it, twin turbo, twin 64 millimeter turbonetics, ball bearing turbos. The car is an absolute beast on the highway. And on the 4th boost setting, which is right around 12.5 pounds, this car makes somewhere right around that 1,000 to 1,025 crank horsepower, which puts it right around 900 at the wheel, which just so happens to be about what the Demon makes. But there are so many differences between these two cars. Now, obviously, the Demon comes stock with these big old Mickey Thompson drag radials on it, 315s in the back. This one has 17-inch 305 ET Street Rs that I normally put on the back when I have the drag pack on the car, but I've got the stock wheels on the car, keeping it looking basically just like a stock Mustang GT. But this car is right around 3,650 pounds, and you can see just the lines on the car, how different they are. And then you look over here at the Demon 170, somewhere around 4,360 is the weight of this car. So a massive difference, what, about 700 pounds between these two cars. Yet when it comes to speed, wow, they're actually quite similar. Because these two cars are so different in essentially every way, I thought I might take just a second and pop the hood on both of these and show you the different engines. And man, they are very, very different. As I mentioned, I love that the S550 Mustangs still have that prop rod. Obviously, the new Mustang, the 2024 S650, you don't have that. You do have struts finally. But you've got a 5-liter naturally aspirated Coyote. That's how this thing started life, as a standard Mustang GT, base price somewhere around $40,000. Now, if you look closely even for those of you that know Mustangs, you realize, well, that looks like a bone stock Mustang GT. I realized that. That is exactly why this car was built the way it was. Everything on this turbo kit is absolutely hidden. They did so much on this car to make sure every little bitty piece of this turbo kit was hidden. Anything from like the fuel system, you can see the turbo piping running through here. It is very, very well hidden. This thing looks absolutely bone stock, like a 460 horsepower 2020 Mustang GT should, yet it packs a massive, massive punch. On the first boost setting, which is like 5.5 pounds, you're making still like 650 wheel, and then at like 12.5 pounds, you're making right around 900 wheel. And mind you, these turbos are barely breathing, but I do have a stock engine and transmission, so I keep the turbos at 12.5 pounds at the most. And like I said, you could always turn it up if you felt like it. And this car is actually still for sale. But what an absolute animal of a car. But it drives so different than this car, right? 6.2 liter iron block with a big old 3-liter supercharger sitting on the top of it. The torque hit on this thing is absolutely insane because it has torque reserve, meaning it will actually build boost in the supercharger right here. And then when you nail the throttle, it'll unleash like 10, 11 pounds of boost immediately right off the hit. And it is absolutely vicious, which is partly why these two cars drive so different, because these turbos need a second to spool up, but on the highway, they absolutely roll out. This car is an absolute highway monster. Here we go. And this thing is an absolute torque monster off the hit. So as you can see, just two very, very different setups on these. Of course, when you talk about price point, as I mentioned, this one's got maybe $30,000 worth of aftermarket stuff done to it, and it started life as basically a base Mustang GT at around $40,000, whereas this guy, I mean, the sticker price on it was $118, and we all know what dealerships are doing to people on the Demon 170. So obviously a vastly more expensive car in the Demon 170. Looking at these two cars side by side, you start to realize just how much bigger the Demon is. Look at how big that thing is compared to the Mustang. And there are several other things working in the Mustang's favor when you talk about speed. First off, it is 700 pounds lighter, like we already covered, but it is also significantly more aerodynamic. And that 5-liter Coyote engine is just a fantastic platform. Yes, it is a smaller displacement V8, which means it seems to lack torque, but when you throw boost at it, those engines really like boost. And that is the great thing about this platform. So it doesn't matter if it's a supercharger or twin turbos like that are on this car, the engine just seems to put up with it. And I know a lot of guys actually run like 15 pounds of boost over 1,000 wheel on these, and they hold together absolutely fine, which you certainly cannot do with like a 6.4 naturally aspirated Hemi. Those cars just do not like anywhere near that amount of boost. So that actually really works in favor of this Mustang. But because it is a smaller displacement V8, it really does seem to lack torque down low when you're driving it. And it could not be more opposite when you're driving this. It absolutely feels like a torque monster of darkness, despite the fact it is a big old car. It actually sits higher than other trims in the Challenger do. Like, come sit it right next to a Scat Pack, you'll see this car sits higher. But man, when you step on this thing, it is instant and it is violent. And I just love that. To illustrate just how fast the Demon 170 is on a prep surface, I'm gonna go ahead and start the car. I've only had this car out to the track once. I absolutely love that right there. That is so cool. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you the performance pages. Just take a look. That's the 8th mile time on the right there in the green, 6.0. And then as we step this back, 0 to 100 in 4.4 seconds. I mean, this is legitimate. This isn't something that's made up. I mean, I've only had this car out one time, made a few passes in it, and you see how it is. And then take a look right here. 0 to 60 in 1.7 seconds. That means this is the quickest 0 to 60 car in the world. There's not another production car out there that will run this on a prepped surface.
That's awesome!
Now, if the surface isn't prepped, yeah, it's not going to do that. But this will actually run like a 1.6. This is actually with a relatively soft trans brake, so I know the car has more in it. So I would expect we can get this down into like the 1.6 range, probably in the 4.1 to 4.2 in the 0 to 100. And I know this car will do probably a 5.7 in the 8th mile, which, man, that is super impressive. You can see it's already run a 9.3 in the quarter, and this thing really does cook on the track. Just for comparison, I went ahead and started the Mustang and went into the performance pages right here. And for some reason, it didn't save the 0 to 100 or the 8th mile, but you can see 0 to 60 in this car. This is the all-time best, 4.5 seconds. So you can definitely see 4.5 in this one compared to 1.7 in the Demon. As you can see, a massive disadvantage for the Mustang right off the line. I mean, mid-4s compared to 1.6 or 1.7 in the Demon, they are absolutely two worlds apart. And as we know, there's not really anything out there that compares with the Demon when it comes to 60 foot and 0 to 60 on a prep surface. And I never really intended for this Mustang to be just a drag race style car. It was really meant to be more of a street car, which is why I never threw a stall converter at it. I never put it up on the two-step, both of which I could have done. I never did the two-step because I was told it does tear up the transmission, and I really built this car for longevity. So really two different kind of things we're comparing here, but when you compare the slips, it is pretty telling. So what have these two cars actually run? Well, I've only run the Demon one time, and I had a few things kind of working against me in terms of prep. I did have the car out there on E85 with the interior pulled out of it, and it managed to run a 1.3360 foot on a relatively soft trans brake to a 6.0 in the 8th at 117 mile an hour, and it ran a 9.38 at like 144. However, the traps were reading low. I've been able to confirm that, about 2.5 mile an hour low, so it was like 146.5. So this thing is absolutely hauling the mail, and I feel like as soon as I can turn that trans brake up and get a little more seat time, those times are only going to get better. That is incredibly impressive for a bone stock car. And when we talk about the Mustang, significantly slower in the 8th mile, it's all because of the slow 60 foot, but the mile an hour is a different story. 117 mile an hour is about average, and that's only on the 4th boost setting on 12.5 pounds. And mind you, so that's actually the exact same as the Demon mile an hour, and this is faster mile an hour in the quarter. This one runs about 151 mile an hour, but it runs like a 9.9. So you can see ET-wise, it's much slower, but mile an hour, it just gets moving. So right out about the 60-foot range is when the Mustang really starts to haul the mail. And so the potential for this car to be much, much faster is there, but it's just not as fast as the Demon because I've kind of limited by the factors I already told you about. But mile an hour, this thing is crazy. And think about the turbos making like 25 or 27 pounds of boost instead of 12. Then you can really imagine how fast this thing would be. But then again, you start breaking all sorts of stuff like that. So which car have I actually been faster in? Well, the answer is the Demon. Over a half second faster in the Demon. I'm actually gone faster in the Demon than I did in my Hellcat as well. I went a 944 when I broke the Bravo package record in my Hellcat. Already been faster at 938 in this car, and we know it's an absolute monster. As I mentioned, mile an hour wise, little different story. So if you're gonna roll race these two cars, the tables turn just a little bit, with the Mustang being more aerodynamic and even at 12.5 pounds of boost. So on wastegate with this car turned down, I feel like the Mustang is going to have the advantage in a roll race. But because of the nasty, nasty hit on the Demon 170, it is the quicker quarter mile car unless I was to throw a lot more at this Mustang. So hopefully that helps to answer you guys' questions. It's a fun little comparison between these two cars, stock versus modified. Mustang, smaller, more aerodynamic versus a big old brute of a muscle car. I mean, it's really weird to compare these two cars, but that's what makes it fun. This is a perfect example of quicker versus faster, right? Quicker, right off the line, faster, top speed. And the way these two cars make power, while they'll both put a huge smile on your face, it feels completely different in the driver's seat. So what do you guys like? Do you like quicker or do you like faster? Hopefully this at least helps to answer the question of which of the two cars has been faster in the quarter mile, which is what I get so often. Let me know what you guys think. Which one would you rather have? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will catch you on the next one. So until then, RacerX.